All right. If you are a coach, a course creator, or you work in SaaS, basically, if you're selling digital products, so non physical items, this is a YouTube marketing SEO research strategy that I've come up with over the last 10 years. And this has been corroborated by a lot of other brands that do really similar things to come up with ideas for YouTube content because YouTube is the next big thing in terms of SEO. It's basically the same algorithm, but it's with videos instead of with written text. Written text, super bloated at this point. Like there's so much content out there. Every brand has a blog. It's really easy to outsource stuff now. So you can just get stuff written really cheaply. It's also kind of hard to differentiate between an AI writer and a real writer at this point. So all that to say, competition on Google, especially with blog content, is really, really high. But YouTube is not at this point. Like when I go and do my research and I'm looking at 100 coaches who are doing content marketing, there's maybe 10 or 15 that have a YouTube presence at all, and maybe two or three that are doing really well on YouTube. Same thing with SaaS. Like every SaaS company, every software company has a blog and they're present and they have SEO strategy for Google, but the percentage that's over on YouTube is even lower, 5 to 10% even have a strong presence at all, and then like maybe 1 or 2% is really doing well. So there's a huge opportunity there, and it's going to grow. It's still growing. It's catching up to Google, if not surpassed it already, in terms of the size of the search engine itself. And you can protect yourself against all the AI writers because we haven't gotten to the point yet where an AI can make video content. So you have a leg up there, I would hope, for at least a few more years. Anyways, this is what we do for our SEO research on YouTube. This also works super well. I've talked it through with a bunch of coaches, photographers, course creators, and it's the same strategy for software and for coaches. So I'm going to bundle it into one. All right, first part of this is you need to know what kind of ideas you're going to have for your content. At surface glance, this is where most people get stuck before they even start. They'll come to me and be like, well, I don't know what to write about. Like, what kind of content should I make? Or there's other hangups, lots of hangups. We're not going to address all that today, but I'm going to walk you through two frameworks for how to come up with ideas for content you're going to create. And this will hopefully get past some of the block, which is like not necessarily knowing what ideas will make good content. So the first thing is, what questions do your customers have? What are the things that people are constantly coming to you asking about? So for us, it's how do I make a quiz? How do I make this type of quiz? How to make that type of quiz? How do I make a quiz that generates leads? How do I make a quiz for Squarespace? Lots and lots of questions around the main thing that we do. Now, in talking with someone like a business coach, their questions might be different. It might be, how do I manage different personalities at work? How do I manage imposter syndrome that I feel? And these are the common topics that come up in your conversations. For other software companies, usually it's goal based, right? So I'm trying to create something, I'm trying to do something, and there's so many different ways of asking those questions, which is wild once you start to unpack it. We'll get into that later. But you want to start to identify what questions people have. Now, if you're getting stuck, you're like, I don't know. It's really helpful to just rewind conversations that you've had with customers, especially early on, like those initial consultations, or if you're doing demos in SaaS. Rewind those in your head and think about how those conversations played out. And then just write down every question that someone had. Think about a specific conversation. I did this with a photographer, a business coach, and a software company. It was the same process for all three. Rewind those conversations, run it through, think about every question that they had for you, and just write them all down. You'll start to notice patterns, and that's a great way to get ideas. Now, the second way is helping with what your customers are trying to do. So, again, for us, they are trying to get leads, or they're trying to grow traffic, or they're trying to convert people on their website to become subscribers. What is it that they are trying to accomplish using your products and services? So for coaches and course creators, maybe they are wanting to learn marketing. Maybe they're wanting to learn sales, whatever it is that they're trying to learn. And then for software products, they're trying to accomplish something. They're trying to make their organization more efficient if it's a productivity software. They're trying to make it more secure if it's a cybersecurity software. So everybody has things they're trying to do, and you want to identify what your customers are trying to do. So those are the two things. What questions do they have, and what are they trying to do? Now, the next thing that you do is you create a really colorful spreadsheet like this. And basically, this spreadsheet is coming from those two areas. So, what questions people have and what they are trying to do. And I'm just separating it out into columns so that I'm not getting stuck being like, oh, there's only a few things that people ask about. Like, for example, a lot of people want to know how to make a personality quiz. That's super common, super popular, but that's just one keyword. There's like, as you can see here, like 10, 15 other keywords that are similar types of quizzes, but not exactly a personality quiz. Having types of quizzes that people are trying to make as a whole column lets me go over into my keyword tool of choice, right? Which is Ahrefs, and I go to my keyword explorer and I can type in make a personality quiz, and it's going to give me suggestions that are other questions people have that are similar. So, how to make a BuzzFeed personality quiz, how to make a personality quiz on Google Forms. And so I have this one topic, and I'm able to find other topics from there because I've identified one question. Now, let's take another example. Like, people will ask how to write the questions of their quiz, or what are some good questions to ask, right? So we have this broad topic of how to write personality quiz questions. So I'll put in personality quiz questions, and it's going to come up with a bunch of other topics. Like, I can go to the broad topic of like quiz questions, and I can see there's a whole bunch of other stuff that's suggested here. This is going to allow me to continue to proliferate and get more and more ideas. So if a customer asks you one question, like how do I write the questions of my quiz, then you can go over here to the Ahrefs tool, type in that keyword, look at questions that are similar, and you will know, and you'll be able to know from intuition whether these are good for your brand. Like, how well do you know your friends is not good for us. We're a B2B quiz creation software, so that's not a good one. Um, impossible quiz, like that kind of stuff. But how to write quiz questions is a good one. And I'm going to take this one as an example because the volume is 20 and the keyword difficulty hasn't loaded in yet. But basically, what you're looking for here is you want the volume to be, it can be as high as you want it to be. I was looking at a term yesterday for a coach, and the volume was like 3,000 and the difficulty was 10, which is incredible. Basically, you want this difficulty to be under 10 in an ideal world. Under 20 is okay, because that means there's not a lot of competition for these terms. Now, that being said, on YouTube, you can get away with higher competition because, again, it's not so inundated with content the way that Google is, which is why getting there now and getting yourself in a regular cadence of creating content, oh, boom, this is money. So 5 difficulty, volume of 20, that's awesome. That's on our list and will definitely get created. So this is what you're really looking for. This is like a magic keyword. And this strategy is not going after like super high traffic terms and doing a bunch of link building. This is basically creating really great content to answer questions that people do have or help them solve problems that they have. But we're not going after like super high traffic, high competition keywords. So yeah, I just break this out into these different columns, and then I just go and I play around with the keywords. It's really interesting once you do start to break it down like this into different categories, because you can just take one category and spend an hour or two playing with terms on Ahrefs and find yourself a couple of great new keywords for it, and that's super effective. Then you get to the actual creation part, which I'm not going to get into. There's lots of great creators who teach on how to make YouTube videos. My recommendation is to keep it really succinct. 3 to 5 minutes is a good time span to basically create the same content that you would normally do as blog posts, but now as YouTube videos. And I think now is the time to get in on this. So this is my YouTube SEO strategy for building up your marketing on YouTube. And we've been seeing great results with it. I've seen other people get really great results with it. Give it a shot.